All right, Lina. I think we're just about ready to make a start. What do you reckon? By the way, I should point out that Ibu Lina will be very much the leader of today's session. I'll be putting in some comments here and there, but this Ibu Lina will be leading the session on maintaining well-being in virtual learning land. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Gerald. It's my pleasure. Hi, everyone. Hi, Mrs. Shalini, Ibu Grace, Ibu Fitri, Ibu
Hello,
Priska, Ibu
everyone.
Lilis, Ibu Priska, Ibu Stephanie, and Ibu Maya as well. Okay, can I ask you to mute your microphone so you can unmute it when Q&A session. Thank you so much. Okay, so today we will sharing our feelings as well about virtual learning. And the first thing to do, I want you to go to www.menti.com. I will send the message in the group chat room. Please go to www.menti.com and type the code and they will ask you the code. I'm sorry. First, you going to menti.com and then put the code, which is 6362 and 49. Okay. I will share my screen to you. Okay, Mr. Gerald, can you unmute a moment and tell me if the screen can share to your screen?
Not yet.
Yeah, okay. So I want you all to tell us about how are you feeling during virtual learning. It can be from the bottom of your heart. You can imagine that you scream it aloud with one word. Okay, does anyone have some problems with that? Let me know.
What's the code just now, Miss?
63, 63,
63?
62, and 49.
636249. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome. Okay, let's wait to all of our answer and thoughts, and also what we feel about virtual learning. It's been like almost 6 weeks, right? We're doing virtual learning. Okay, 3 people already write their answer. We will wait for the rest. Heart organized schedule. Okay, we will talk about this specific things later. Crazy but creative. Wow, it's a nice thing to hear. This is really positive things that we want to hear right now in the middle of chaotic situation. Okay, one person can feel calm. That's really, really great. Okay, we will wait for closer to the kids. Wow, that's very sweet. Maybe we are so busy, usual, and now we have more time to get in touch with our kids, to getting to know what's the challenge that they have while learning. So we feel closer to the kids. Okay, let me take a picture so we can talk about it later. Okay, is anyone done? Is anyone done? Okay, I just take this picture and let me start to share my screen with things that I want to share with you. Can you see, Mr. Gerald? Can you nod your head if you see what I can share the PowerPoint?
Yeah, but it's still
Yes.
the it's not on present view yet. Ah, there you go.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. 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 Good night, dear parents. We have teacher and psychologists joining us tonight. Also, Ibu Priska, Ibu Stephanie, Ibu Lilis, and Mrs. Ka also from marketing. I'm hosting the same webinar with my fellow psychologist, Ibu Rafika, on last Friday. Ibu Grace joined with us too. So thank you, Ibu Grace, for joining with us again. Ibu Rafika is counselor from Cita Buana School, so we share a lot of things that happen in our school. And tonight we'll have the same slide to deliver to you. Also, we will have Q&A session after the presentation has ended. So please keep your question and send it at the message box afterward. Okay, so me and Mr. Gerald hope with this webinar you can get knowledge and new insight that you can apply and of course personalized according to your situation. Okay, let's get into it. So as we know, we are having change in our lives, learning methods in particular. I will explain from both sides, from perspectives of our children and also from us as parents. As we experience this changing by ourselves, we also need to know what happened to our children first, so we can understand their situation and we can help them figuring out if they face challenge. Okay, first from students' point of view, they need, of course, they need a lot of adaptation. Yes, in our school, in NJIS, they use personal computer and tablet as daily helping tools, and they can use several apps related to education. But right now, the situation can be a problem for several kids. For example, maybe a shy kid who usually asks to repeat questions to their friends or sometimes teacher when people not looking at them. But what happened now? They cannot do the same thing and have probability getting left behind if they don't understand and they kind of afraid to ask or they just shy. They need a lot of assistance now. And if you're a lower school parents, I'm sure you've experienced it for having it more than a month. Having someone, especially parents around them, might give different situations. For example, they can be more clingy who's in this kind of situation. Okay. And the most important thing is they have less, or I hope not, but maybe non-interaction with their friends. They're usually playing around and the playground in the recess, and that time is so precious for them. Now they cannot have direct interaction anymore. Also, by living in limited space right now, make our brain increase anxiety feelings and hormone leads to anxiety. Plus, that kind of uncertainty feeling that they experience, maybe they questioning when they gonna come back to their daily routine.
Yeah.
That's what happens in our children.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
Mr. Gerald?
if I can jump in a little bit on that, I think
Yeah.
it's very true that humans we're tribal creatures, we're tribal animals, if you like, and we we survive best when we are with friends, when we're able to make contact with other people. There's a reason why the worst punishment in prison is solitary confinement. It's because it's a really it's a really difficult thing for human beings to go through. I think one thing that we can also sort of be perhaps very aware of is conversations we might be having or media that our kids might be exposed to that may be adding to that sense of anxiety as well. So I'm sure Bulina is going to touch on this a little bit later, but just being careful of the media that's playing in the background. I had CNN on the TV the other day, and if you watched 30 minutes of CNN, you would genuinely believe that this was the apocalypse. It's quite it's quite intense. Whereas if you remove some of those sources of media and sort of make sure that those conversations are not constantly playing in the background, then I think that does a lot to remove that sort of constant turning sense of anxiety, I think.
Yes, yes, that is very true. Also, us really need to limit our, exposure to media, to news and stuff, because we get anxiety, and then our kids see we're anxious, and it can increase their anxious as well. Okay, okay. Shall I
Yeah.
go? Okay. Okay, that's from children's perspective. Second, from parents' perspective, I'm sure you experience it by yourself. We have so much things going on right now. I mean, like triple jobs, work to do, assisting our kids, taking care of domestic tasks, especially for the mother, uh, all at the same time. And related to virtual learning, this is the thing that some parents feeling confused of. Confusion while using some learning application. We suddenly have to be the technology master. Like maybe some of you, like me, when I'm enter anxious, that's the first time I'm using Google Calendar, honestly. So I can imagine like, especially mother out there, maybe uh, the application that they know for daily basis, just like social media, email and stuff. So it's pretty brand new. Second, maybe we never being 24/7 with our kids, and now we realize that teacher is super patient. Sometimes we feel like we're not we're not patient enough, but we can discuss about it later. And suddenly, our works become top priority. We're feeling confused. Which one is the most important and need to be finished right away? Everything seems to be finished at that moment, at this moment. Okay, do you have some more, Mr. Gerald, as a parent as well?
No, no. I think, yeah, I think those are probably everybody's main concerns. I think it's worth bearing in mind that even as a teacher myself, with many years of experience teaching in a classroom, somehow when I sit down with my daughters to talk about mathematics, somebody always ends up crying. So that probably has a lot to do with I'm able to be very patient with a class of 25 kids, but when it's my own daughter face to face at the kitchen table, it's very it's a very different experience when you're working with your own child and when you're working with a regular classroom. So it's very difficult sometimes to remember in those moments to pull back and to not make a stressful situation any more stressful than it needs to be, because that can actually, it can have a long-term impact on how students feel about certain subjects if they have sort of negative experiences associated to those subjects.
Yeah, and you cannot be objective, right, when it comes to your own kids. Yeah, that's like makes that human. Okay, and this is the difference that we need to understand at first. Depends on how old is our kid, this the differences of learning ways according to their developmental milestones or their age. First is adaptation to the daily routine of learning, following the instructions, support, and how to finish their task. There is a difference with children who's in 3 until 8 years old, 9 until 12 years old, and 13 years old and above. For lower school, maybe this is until grade six. I'm sorry, grade three, grade four. They still needs supervision, like constant supervision, instruction from parents, and they need daily routine schedule. For children who is 9 till 12 years old, supervision is still needed. Children tends to be more independent. They want to doing their own task, but daily routine schedule is still needed too. For 13 years old and above, they have less supervision. And as we know that adolescents need independence for doing their tasks, so giving them like private moment, private area. But it doesn't mean that they don't need supervision. They still need because sometimes, especially in this kind of situation, they lose like motivation uh, and a lot of things like small things really matters like they learning from bathroom which can make them feel sleepy maybe in period 2 period 3 so yeah supervision is still needed but less second things they need to adapt adaptation in interaction doing some activity at home because they cannot interact with their friends anymore right now what kind of things that they need to do. For children 3 until 12 years old, they still need activity with family, needs video call with friends and family, sometimes playing board game. Uh, in this hard time will make a big difference for them. And this is, I want to highlight this part, encourage free and independent play. Sometimes we kind of confuse like okay what toys for today for my kids I feel like as a mother maybe I feel like we play all of the toys that we have like what's next sometimes it's good for children to lead the play activities I mean you can ask them like okay what kind of things that you want to do today what toys you want to choose today and which way uh, do you want to play with that toys we can see a lot of things from this we can see their interest we can see their imagination and we can see their playing stage because each play stage can reflect their developmental milestones as well and they need exercise I highlight this boldly because exercise from stretching until uh, sometimes high intensity for children who has a lot of energy is still needed and for 13 years old and above yes they still need activities with family of course video calls and interaction with friends is what they need more because the portion of their life right now is like bigger to their friends their peer group so they need more portion on that part and since they are old enough to choose they can doing social project exercise and also journaling in NJIS I'm sure Mr. Gerald we trying to do a lot of social project that a couple social project going on right now like the one that Mr. Dennis do with I think sewing fabric non-surgical
Yeah, yeah,
mask
yeah,
yeah
yeah. And there's a big recycling project coming through soon as well, and yeah, yeah. I think that everything. even before the time of lockdown, we find greater meaning and greater happiness in life when we're focused on other people rather than ourselves, when we're focused on the welfare and the well-being of others. So I think this is, and especially at this moment where so many people in Indonesian society are really, really struggling, and we are comparatively in a position of comfort and well set up for this situation. It's a great moment to encourage our kids to be more outward looking, to be more focused on service and social projects. A, because it's good to help other people, and B, because it actually ends up helping you. It ends up helping them, and it helps up improving their well-being in this situation as well, helping others.
That's really great, and that makes the students feel more connected to the society as well. Yeah, and also they still need exercise, but at this point they can choose what kind of exercise they're comfortable with because they're old enough to do that, and maybe they can choose the one that they can do in indoor settings. Maybe some of us live on apartment, we don't have enough space, so yeah, they can choose. They have resources for that. And also journaling is important for teenager, because we can see our feeling. We can, sometimes we just doing a lot of things every day and we forget. It's I'm talking about mindfulness. If you ever read about this, journaling is good for our mindfulness, because mindfulness, the basic principles is be here and now, and we feel that we're doing something important and we're trying to survive every day, and we can give gratitude to ourselves on the next day. uh, Third things is changes in feelings and behavior. Yeah, all of us will have our behavior changes, right, including the kids, but we have to take a look if some of them might appear very disturbing. Okay, behavior changes in every child can be different according to their age as well. Usually, the changes seem subtle at first, and then it become more bold. Uh, it can be thoughts and feelings. So we must be aware if children look sad all the time, maybe become very sensitive at the point that we cannot talk with them anymore. Like usually maybe we have a dinner together and we can sharing about our day together, but right now we can't do that anymore because our children very sensitive, and they pulling themselves away. That is appearance of physical symptoms and sleeping or eating problem. It can be like less sleeping, less eating, or excessive sleeping or eating. You need to consult with professional to help them immediately if you see this kind of problems. Uh, Maybe the duration usually around 2 weeks if these symptoms appear, and you have to worry if this behavior disturb our daily functioning. Okay, that's it. And next, I'm sorry. Okay, so that is for adaptation for our children, and now adaptation for parents during virtual learning. We know that who who is in this room have problems with internet and it makes us crazy, especially today. Especially today, the internet network is crazy. So we have to start from the very basic. Please make sure that our children have electronic hardware and internet connection. This is very basic, and based on the research, successful virtual learning requires electronic devices to make sure students can study properly. Maybe you need to increase your internet speed if needed. So it can solve a lot of problem. Can you imagine that you accompany your children and also in the same time you are working, and then the internet has a problem and your children maybe get mad or scream, and you were in the middle of meeting and you know it's all being crumbled. But by the
Sorry,
with
if I can just jump in on that as well as the electronic hardware and the internet
yeah
connection. Big recommendation also to ensure that there is a suitable workspace in the whatever room they're going to be working in, whether that's a desk or just a suitable table, but somewhere where they can where they can sit up straight and where they can actually focus in a bit of quiet space and get on with their work, because I know it's nice for them to be relaxed and kind of lying down and on a cushion or whatever, but the reality is that just somehow psychologically sitting up straight and focusing on something really does have an impact on your ability to get the job done.
yeah, and it's good for our posture too. We can get tired easily if we just typing while laying down, and it's important for if we have our little kids because they always see us. So we have to make sure ourselves have the proper working table as well, and then our children can see us as a role model. That's really important too. Thank you, Mr. Gerald, for sharing this. Very important to watch out. And then next is prepare all of supporting tools few days before. Some subjects like arts and maybe if you have a specific project on your grade required supporting tools. It can be a burden if we prepare it just like 1 day before, even 2 days before. So we need to prepare all of this since we now, I'm sure that many of you ordered it online too. So we need to counting like how many days it will it will arrive to our house. I know that uh, it's like adding one step more, but it can be something that make you easier later. You can use a board for reminder if this will help you. Maybe the one that write in like Monday, Tuesday until Friday, and that what kind of tools your children need, and you can order it like couple days. Okay, and third is split the responsibilities between husband and wife or another family member, or if you have assistant. Remember that we're not Wonder Woman or Superman. We cannot finish all of the things, all of the work. We can share daily tasks with our spouse, our family member, or if you have children like teenager, you can delegate some tasks for them. And even if you need to replan your task, consider this is an emergency situation. This is not a normal situation. So maybe if you agree with your spouse to differentiate the task, your own task before, but you need to replan it again. Consider this situation. Okay, and next, understand about how to use learning application. In the beginning, I think it's pretty chaotic, right, Mr. Gerald?
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, okay, that's just the technical tips for parents. Nowadays on YouTube, you can find any tutorial. Me myself, mm, kind of old-fashioned way. I don't really understand like the application and stuff, but we can uh, we can see the tutorials on YouTube if we want to see it right away, or we can wait until the school time is over and then we can ask the teacher like how to use this. Maybe this application have so much features that we confused about. Uh, by asking teachers after school time is over, give us a couple advantage both of us and for the teachers too. You can get answer uh, of all of your questions because teacher don't do anything after school time. And okay, and next is write the schedule according to priorities and timeline. Maybe this time we have to learn how to make ourselves more organized. I'm sure that before I have a full working time, I don't have any specific schedule. But right now, I think the schedule will help all of us, our children, uh, ourselves as a parents, and everyone. And we can see which one that we have to finish first. And the
Uh,
last one,
Sorry, I would
yeah,
just
yeah,
jump. I would just jump in on that as well.
yeah.
You know, you'd be surprised, but younger children can also start to develop their own to-do lists. They can start to develop their own list of things to do, and I I strongly encourage you, just sort of for your own well-being as well, to invest the time in teaching your kids how to sort of write reminders. And I realize this might not be possible in kindergarten, but as they start to come up into grade 2, grade 3, grade 4 and above, um, getting them into the habit of writing reminders for themselves and having a to-do list, whether it's a whiteboard or whether it's, like you were saying, whether it's a piece of paper next to their computer or whether it's digital. um, Something to help them keep track of their tasks, because investing the time in that early on will save all of us time later on as they start to become more independent and start to manage their own tasks.
Yeah, that's very right. And also, for children, like younger children, like maybe in pre-K, even kindergarten, they can still have schedule, but uh, in a simplest way. For example, like color blocks, you can make like a clock, but if they can don't understand the clock yet, you can use color block on clock. So for example, in the morning you use red color, in the afternoon you use green, and in the night you use blue color. And then you can add like pictures and glue the pictures to the color blocks according to the time. So it's just a simple ways to initiate the schedule habit. Okay. Yeah, write a daily routine schedule.
There you go.
uh, this is very important, and not just for us. The children can feel more comfortable and can be, not questioning like, what do I have to do next if they have schedule. It will somehow suits them out. Uh, by writing this daily routine together with your children, it can increase the probability that your children will stick to the schedule because they involve on the writing process. And children still need fun and physical activity. Yeah, free play or independent play is a good alternative. It can make us not to always think and not always initiate like what toys we have to play with now, and they can take a lead. Okay, and next, stay connected. Yeah, because our situation right now, we just can have a video call with family and friends, but please make a schedule, maybe every 2 days on, or it can be good if it can be every day, like just 15 minutes can be good. They can see their friends not in school time, because they're really happy when recess time, right? Uh, it's really obvious on recess time. Students on lower school is like, they're really happy. So yeah, please make sure that they stay connected with their friends. And it's kind of hard, but you can try it. Like, be there for them, especially when they want to ask or discuss about the situation. The situation is really hard for them to understand, like what's going on, what everyone, it's the panic, what my parents why my parents emotion like changes, why they become so sensitive, something like that. We can use helping tools if they need to, maybe for younger children. We need some pictures, or by drawing something to help them understand about the situation, and they can still learn about um, consequences of every action. So please lead them take decisions that lead to good consequences. And yeah, this is the one that Mr. Gerald highlighted before. Minimize negative news, focus on the here and now. We can set our limit to watching news, or if we are not sure that maybe we see our children being so sensitive with the situation, we can see it with just ourselves. We don't have to share with the children, and focus on the here and now. We can use a technique called grounding. Grounding basically a technique that we can focus on here and now and avoid to be overthinking, avoid to think about what happens on the next day, some things like that. We can use we can feel our senses, like what we see, what we hear, what we see on our skin, for example. Okay, I want to give an example for this technique for all of us, so we can practice it. You can personalize it later. Okay, can you please just close your eyes right now and trying to hear the sounds around you, and slowly you can hear maybe the air conditioner in your room. You can hear maybe your kids scream on the next door, maybe the voice of other electronic devices. And if you tap your hands on your legs, maybe you can hear a sound. Okay, we spend about 10 seconds, if you notice, that we don't think about anything else besides what we hear in our room. Okay, you can open up your eyes now. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is one technique called grounding. You can personalize it by counting, by for example, like finding 5 things which has green color, some things like that. It can be like first aid if you get panic or you need to calm down a little bit. Okay,
Yeah, if
Mr.
I can
G,
just,
yeah.
I'll just add on top of that. It's very normal for, you know, for kids and for us as adults to be quite focused on the things we don't have right now, or the things we can't do right now, the things we miss. And it, you know, our kids will talk to us about those things. You know, they'll say, I miss going to the mall, I miss this play, I miss playing with these friends, I miss going here, I miss doing that. And of course, we need to validate those feelings. You know, those thoughts, they are valid thoughts, and they do need to, you know, we need to recognize and say, yeah, it's true, I missed that too. You know, it will be honest and transparent and realistic about our situation. But on top of that, also, do encourage them to find things to celebrate about their current situation as well. Find things to celebrate about the day. You know, what did they enjoy about today? What was the high point and the low point of the day? What are you glad to have right now in this house, whether it's the cat or Netflix or, you know, whatever it is that they're happy to have. Just, you know, spending that time. And just to clarify, that doesn't mean invalidating when they talk about things they miss. It means validating those things, but also encouraging them to think about, you know, the positives. The book, I just shared a YouTube video in the chat down here on the right. And this is just a lovely little story. It's basically a story that encourages students to be happy in the moment and to think about the positives of what they have in this moment right now, rather than constantly focusing on, you know, I'll be happy later on when this is over, or I'll be happy later on when this happens. Actually thinking about the things that are making them happy right now in this particular instant.
That's right. Validate feelings is that it means that we accept our children's feeling. We accept them for who they are, what they felt right now. That's the first thing to do. And yeah, as Mr. Gerald said, we have to express gratitude for ourselves and also with children. At the end of the day, as I suggested, we do this every day. Like by doing this, we can feel more happy, and we can, you know, think that we're less fortunate than others, and uh, hopefully we can do something to uh, give something to other society and other environment as well. Okay. And the last one is to maintain parents' well-being. This is what I. This is why that I put me time on the first, because you are human. We are human. Please give ourselves time to rest. Just doing me time activities, and uh, please find the activities that you can do in this kind of situation. Maybe you already have what you usually do before, but it's not possible to do at the moment. And if it takes too long time, you can think about the activity that emphasize quality over quantity. It's something that makes us feel refreshed again. Take a shower, take a bath is one of the things that a lot of people being recommended. And for you who praying also, I think praying, by praying you express your gratitude as well, and you get more relaxed and time for yourself. And you know, the situation, we cannot set the expectation as high as before, and we need to, this is the most important, we need to accept the situation that is below our expectation right now. just survive is great. You don't have to have a lot of expectation and trying to be so productive, and realize that right now there are so many things that we cannot control, like everyone cannot control, so we have to let it go, something beyond us. And again, sharing between husband and wife, giving input for each other can be a positive habit that you can do every night. Maybe find and do some activity to release tension. I recommend some things like yoga station you can find online. I can recommend you YouTube channel if you want. Uh, uh, Maybe they will give us yoga station like 15 minutes, but it will make a big difference. Yeah, I think that's it. Mr. Cheryl, do you want to add something?
Yeah, no, I think that's very complete. I would say,
Yeah.
in terms of activities on releasing tension, I second what Miss Lina has said about mindfulness, perhaps mindfulness meditation or just general mindfulness. Taking 10 minutes a day. There are hundreds of great programs out there for learning the skill of mindfulness, and I found, just as a parent and a colleague, it has helped me remain much more calm in a crisis than I would otherwise be able to be. So yeah, I highly recommend building a mindfulness routine. A crisis, especially a crisis that requires you to stay at home and do nothing some of the time, is a great moment to develop a mindfulness habit.
Okay. And to wrap up our webinar, this is a great quote for now. Take life day by day and be grateful for even little things. Don't get caught up in what you cannot control. Accept it and make the best of it. Once we can accept the condition, it will be something new for us. Like we can see things more bright and not as miserable if we still on the stage like deny or anger, something like that. Okay, I think that's it.